Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Okay, welcome everybody to this session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus. Just a kind reminder that this session is being recorded, and if you stay with us, you are agreeing to that fact, and that we will publish this video both in our channels, the channels of the European Cluster Alliance, and in the ECCP, the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. So again, thank you for joining us. Today we are going to speak about research and innovation in the European Union, and specifically about the EIT. So in order to speak about that, we have with us Martin Erketek, sorry for the pronunciation, that is Head of Strategy and Impact Unit in the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Thank you for joining us, Martin. And the introduction will be made by Marek. Marek Sveor. Thank you, Marek, for your attendance and for introducing. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yes, excellent. So everything works. Super.
Thank you. Okay. Before entering it, I have a recommendation from Marek to share with you one video. It's located in YouTube, and you will have the reference of the video also. Let me share it with you now.
It seems there's no voice.
No voice. Sorry, because I have voice in my. Do you don't hear the video?
We cannot hear it, Antonio.
I'm really sorry. It's always different with this kind of tools, because I remember very clearly that in other occasions you heard. So I don't know what can happen now. Okay, so sorry for that. I think that we should skip it if you are not hearing it. Okay, but anyway, we will share the link in the presentation and in the chat. Marek, would you like to have the presentation right, or would you prefer that I go through the slides?
I will try to take control on the presentation.
I'm giving you now the presentation rights. Perhaps you could try to share the video from your computer.
Yeah, I will try. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not in full screen mode yet.
Okay,
now it's perfect. Yes.
Okay, so let's see if we manage. Now I'm. Yeah.
We don't see the video, Marek.
Can you see video? No.
No.
No. Okay.
We see just the PowerPoint.
Okay, so we skip this. I'm trying to come back to.
Now we have lost your screen now.
Okay, now.
Not yet. What I can do is retake the presentation right? And I will give it
No,
to you again.
Just let me, because I put this YouTube and it didn't work. So, okay, maybe now. Yep.
Yeah.
You can see. Yeah.
Now it's perfect. Thank you, Marek.
So yeah, we want to just to warm you up and have this this 1 minute short promotional clip, but it didn't work. So good morning, everyone, and let me just introduce the very shortly Horizon Europe in general overview, because we want to focus this meeting today on the European on the EIT. And the topic and the horizon is such broad that it cannot be covered in one 1 hour session. So let me start. I put, you will get this presentation. This is the main political reasoning that started, of course, with a vision of having the new Horizon Europe with a key funding program vision, which was about tackling the climate change and helps to achieve UN Sustainable Development Goals and boost the EU's competitiveness and growth. And for this, this is a Commission for Research. So the sustainable future, and this is what this Horizon Europe should serve for, and the program should maximize its impact for this. You will get the link. There is a nice on the 2nd of February. You could see on YouTube the whole conference with all political messages from the top, the Council, the European Commission, and it was the launch conference of the Horizon Europe program, which was organized by the Portuguese presidency. So if you want to go into details of political messages, I encourage you to go to this link. Then let me go in all presentation. When you see on Horizon, it's about investing to shape our future, and I want to emphasize this investing, because very often people still using the spending. As an economist, for me, the biggest difference between investing and spending is that this should have a return. And investment in Horizon Europe should have a return. And this is how we define this return in terms of impact. So in terms of rather concrete impact defined in Horizon Europe, it is defined 3 types of this impact called key impact pathways. It's the scientific impact. So we want with this Horizon to create high quality new knowledge, to strengthen human capital in research and innovation, and foster diffusion of knowledge and open science. So if we have projects and consortia which are striving for having scientific impact and achieving this 3, this is what we want. And then societal impact, the addressing EU policy priorities and global challenges through research and innovation, and delivering benefits and impact for research and innovation missions, and strengthening the uptake of research and innovation in society. So all these policy priorities and global challenges, and you are probably very much familiar already with priorities for climate change, for global for greening industry, for digitizing our society, and then these global challenges include as well the inclusive growth. Then we have the third one, economic impact, when we want this Horizon Europe to generate innovation-based growth. But it's innovation-based growth in order to create more jobs, but not any jobs, better jobs, higher value added jobs, and leveraging investment in research and innovation. As you know, still European Union had this target of 3% of research and development spendings of GDP, and many countries still are not there. And however, this is the input indicator that still need to increase, in particular business and research innovation, because we are lagging as the EU behind the US or Southern Korea. So this is the overview of why we have this Horizon Europe, and for this there is the budget, and the budget is 95.5 billion euro in 2021-27 in the new multi-annual financial framework. It includes already the 0.4 billion euro from the Next Generation Europe, and as political agreement in December focused, 53.5% of this is dedicated to global challenges and the European industrial competitiveness, 25% to excellent science, innovative Europe, 13%, and there is a part as well to think about the ones who are not excellent in science to be there. So we have vision. We know what we want to achieve. We have budget. So now, how we want to achieve this? And this is basically the what you saw probably many times already. And but I would like to recall, because this is like shaping the whole structure of the Horizon Europe. Let's see, European Defence Fund, around 10 billion euro, research actions and development actions, particularly exclusive focus on defense research and development. So this is the program which clusters will have as well a closer look at a certain moment. But let me focus on the so-called main specific program implementing Horizon Europe, which is divided into 3 pillars. Pillar 1, excellent science, and here we are very much on frontier research for frontier researchers. If in clusters you have research organizations, in clusters you have researchers who are can be excellent, this could be as well for your clusters or members of clusters. European Research Council is of course for the scientific top frontier researchers. Marie Skłodowska-Curie is for exchange of researchers and mobility, and research infrastructures is for top-notch research infrastructure which can help in top research. It's excellent science, but I think we should focus on pillar 2, as pillar 2 is the one which shapes the topics around which the research will be conducted, and I think here is where clusters need to be concentrated on. And then I'm sorry for the confusion of nomenclature. In Horizon Europe, these topics, which you could say calls groupings of topics, were called clusters. But of course, they are not in the meaning of clusters as we mean by Porter or business clusters, industrial innovation clusters. It is meant as groups, clusters of topics. But okay, I'm fine. We have a name of clusters there, meaning that this is for clusters by default. So if you look at the pillar 2, in pillar, if I come back to pillar 1, for European Research Council, there is 16 billion euro, for Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action, 6.6 billion euro, for research infrastructures, 2.4 billion euro. And this is pillar 1. So altogether, about 24.5 billion euro for excellent science. But as you know, half of the funding from Horizon will go actually for global challenges and European industrial competitiveness, it's 53.5 billion. And I think the most important here is these topics. So it's no wonder that health is one of them. But as well, we have culture, creativity, inclusive societies. We have civil security for society. We have digital industry and space. Some are saying this is the most important for the industry and clusters, digital industry and space cluster. But I think equally important for our business clusters or industrial clusters or innovation cluster, whatever we call our clusters in the meaning of Porter, is climate, energy, and mobility, as well as we have many clusters which actually are dealing with this in the EU economy. And then last but not least, very important, food bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, all the more so that actually around 17-18% of European gross value added is in food processing. So these are 6 main topics, and of course we can allocate, think about clusters to get into these projects which will be developed in this field. So if you can see, there's a split by each cluster in terms of funding. Most of this goes to cluster for digital industry and space, and climate, energy, and mobility. So this is this tentative split that we can see in pillar 2, and then we have the pillar 3. Personally, I like the most, because this is it's about innovative Europe, and it's coming, I think, modern economy, very much aligned. So we have the new kid in the block, the European Innovation Council, which is about breakthrough innovation support and market creating, with market creating potential, supporting close to market solutions so that they can be implemented on the market. And for this, actually, the first calls were launched related to COVID. And then we have as well European innovation ecosystems, where will be innovation actions developed, which is about connecting with regional and national innovation actors. And then we have European EIT, European Institute for Innovation and Technology, which you will have possibility to listen, and we can start like deepening in with this instrument. So altogether, you can see we have more or less 10 billion euro, 11 billion euro for European Innovation Council and European Innovation Ecosystems, and circa 3 billion euro for European Institute for Innovation and Technology. And then there's another element which was introduced, is the widening participation and strengthening the European research area. I think this widening participation is spreading excellent. There's always still it's 3 billion euro. There's, as you know, there's still a very big gap between beneficiaries from Central Eastern Europe and Southern Europe. This is very much concentrated on some countries. This tool is to help the countries which are not explicitly so much in excellence of science to catch up and build collaboration with the more better performing in research. And another one is as well 400 million euro just for supporting the reforms of the research innovation systems in the member states. So this is basically in the nutshell what we have. I would like to give you as well some to the Euratom. I will not touch upon this. There's 2 billion euro, but I think it can be out of focus from the from clusters at this moment. Let me still emphasize the new elements in the horizon, which you could be into. So first of all, this European Innovation Council. I think something which clusters should very much look at it and be involved. Then we have this the mission. So it goes with Matsukato, and it's one of the recommendations of our European cluster expert group recommendations that clusters should be involved in these missions. We had lately the webinar on this in expert group. This will come in operationalization, where clusters can be more involved in the autumn. Just to recall these 5 missions. This is adaptation to climate change, including societal transformation. This is cancer. This is healthy oceans, seas, coastal, inland waters. This is climate neutral smart cities. This is soil health and food. 5 missions, and then the work will be around this this 5 missions. So another one is novelty. I don't know if this novelty is. We have the partnerships. It's about rationalizing partnerships landscape. And this is something that as well in the recommendations of the expert group we have, as we need to dig in as clusters into this to be involved in the partnerships. This is a topic in itself. I will come back to this. We will come back for sure on this with one of the webinars. This will be as well a subject of the discussion at the expert group. And then I would like to stress the principle of open science policy, which is reinforcing openness to the results of the work being conducted by within Horizon Europe. Need to publish what was developed and share. So mandatory immediate open access to publications and data sharing as open as possible, as close as necessary, as this is defined. So then strengthening international cooperation, of course, having extended association possibilities with other countries, and what I mentioned already, spreading excellence, this 3 billion euro encourage participation of less excellent, let's say, in research member states or people which are talented but are not able to get into it. So shortly, where we stand is the whole story started in summer 2019. Now in 2021, actually, we are now approaching really the moment where the specific work program is adopted. Is going to be adopted in May, and since then, actually, our colleagues from DG Research and the European Commission will organize info days. At this moment, there is work program for European Research Council adopted in February, the strategic plan, which is as well based for working in the European Institute of Technology. It was adopted on the 15th of March. European Innovation Council work program adopted on the 17th of March. This is very easy to Google and you get all these work programs available. Then the main work program adoption, as I said, for all this class and pillar 2, it's on in May. There was earlier, in order to enable the already calls, which are still running. By the 5th of May, there are calls related to COVID-19 from this main work program adopted on the 30th of March. So this all is available, but I would like to encourage you. There is, I will put this link later. This is the nitty-gritty rules of submission evaluation. The colleagues from DG Research, they carried out the webinars on how to, what are the principles, how should the model grant agreement look like. So you can go there to look in depth and check what is and will be required. So all this funding and tenders opportunities will be published on our portal, as well on our cluster collaboration as usual, and the webpage on Horizon Europe if you want to get in depth. As you can see, this is a huge program with a big potential where clusters can particularly take part. I think Pillar 2 and Pillar 3, there shouldn't be any call without cluster participation, but as well the widening participation and spreading excellence in order to include clusters from less developed into research excellence area in Europe. So thank you very much for your attention. As much as we could, we covered at this moment. We all will deepen this topic, Horizon Europe. And now let's focus on one of these tools, which is European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Thank you very much for your attention.
You are very welcome, Marek. A very complete description of something that we know it's deep and wide, and we need to study carefully during the next months and years. So thank you for that quick introduction. Now it's time to welcome again Martin Erzek from the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Welcome, Martin. Should I give you the presentation rights?
Yes, please. I'll try to share my presentation then immediately. So, one second. Hopefully it's on screen now. I hope you can see it.
Perfect.
Excellent, excellent. So thank you very much once more, Antonio, and thanks a lot, Marek, actually, for setting the scene and explaining the role of the EIT within Horizon Europe. It helps me a lot, but I'm happy to provide you a bit more about the EIT's activities and opportunities under Horizon Europe, which was just outlined. I'm Martin Herzeg, head of the strategy and impact at the EIT. So speaking about the EIT, it's an independent EU body which was created in 2008 by the European Commission to strengthen Europe's innovation capacity. We are fully operational since 2010, and we aim to break the silos and remove barriers to innovation through ecosystem building. Our ecosystems are pan-European partnerships between business, research, and education, and they are established as independent legal entities and managed like businesses in many ways. They're created up for up to 15 years with the objective of becoming also financially sustainable while creating societal impact, of course. We work through regional innovation hubs, co-location centers all over Europe. The EIT community helps the innovators to turn their ideas into cutting-edge products, services, and jobs. And we do this basically by delivering educational programs that combine technical and entrepreneurial skills. We fund innovative research projects, business creation and acceleration services. Just a few words about the EIT's accomplishments so far. So over the past decade, we became Europe's largest innovation ecosystem, and our network is made up of more than 2,000 partners now, working across more than 60 hubs in Europe and also beyond. In our past years, 13 years of existence, we have supported more than 3,200 ventures, which helped to create over 1,100 products and services and helped startups to raise external 3.3 billion euro of external investment on top of the funding. Two EIT-backed startups have now reached the unicorn status, so to say, so with a valuation of over $1 billion. Both of them are pictured in this slide you can see here. One is Northvolt, supported by EIT InnoEnergy, which is developing the world's greenest lithium-ion battery, and Lilium from Germany, which is backed up by EIT Climate Kick, building the world's first air taxi, an all-electric vertical takeoff and landing jet. So the EIT model is actually about what we call knowledge triangle integration. This success is achieved through this unique approach. We don't simply provide funding, but we unite business, research, and education through this model. And we ensure that all actors in the innovation landscape, including businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises, universities, research centers, NGOs, local authorities as well, are working together to power the entrepreneurs across Europe and become more competitive and sustainable at the global level. So as I've mentioned, now we have more than 2,000 partners integrated in the existing KICs. Which are these KICs? Knowledge and innovation communities of the EIT. So through this knowledge triangle integration model, we unite these actors I've just mentioned in so-called knowledge and innovation communities, EIT KICs. There are currently 8 KICs existing, each addressing a different global societal challenge, such as climate change, renewable energy, digital transformation, urban mobility, raw materials, smart manufacturing, food, and health. The KICs operate as independent legal entities, and they each have partnerships of 50 to more than 300 partners from across the knowledge triangle. They deliver the activities based on currently still annual business plans. With Horizon Europe transition, we are moving towards multi-annual business plans, actually, focused on successful innovations, which also help them to become sustainable as well. The KICs are also contributing actively to several major EU priorities. We don't only work together with other aspects of Horizon Europe, but also, for instance, EIT InnoEnergy is managing the industrial development program for the European Battery Alliance, which brings together over 400 industrial and innovation actors. I can mention EIT Raw Materials, which plays a leading role in the European Raw Materials Alliance, a key initiative of the new EU industrial strategy that brings together Europe's entire raw material value chain. EIT Health and EIT Food, they set up policy advisory boards that include high-level commission representatives to ensure their complementarity with EU-level goals as well. Speaking about the presence of EIT community in Europe, we basically stretch all across Europe. We have boots on the ground, so we're ready to support the innovators and entrepreneurs to the EIT KICs headquarters, but also the regional offices through numerous what is called co-location centers, and also EIT RIS hubs. EIT RIS stands for Regional Innovation Scheme. I'll get back to this. So each KIC has typically 5 to 8 regional co-location centers, innovation hubs across Europe, where the local partners work side by side. These co-location centers, of course, leverage on existing capacities, laboratories, offices, campuses, and so on to provide the space for co-creation and co-design, and they enable the transfer of knowledge between and connection of local innovation ecosystems and pan-European networks. So the EIT RIS, the scheme, I'll explain later on, but we also have currently around 80 EIT RIS hubs, which are created in countries with modest or moderate innovation performance, and they serve as focal points for the KICs activities, for engaging with local knowledge triangle actors, basically, and for sharing good practices and experiences. When it comes to our priorities under Horizon Europe, so for the EIT's strategic innovation agenda for the next 7 years, 2021-2027, the EIT has big ambitions under Horizon Europe, as laid out in our new strategy. So we have 3 main priorities looking forward. One is closing Europe's regional innovation gaps. Second, boosting the innovative capacity of European higher education. Third, strengthening the impact of the EIT KICs. So we received a strong mandate from the EU institutions and a budget of 2.9 billion euro for these coming years. And these resources will allow us to deliver on 3 priority areas I've just mentioned, but also to launch 2 new EIT KICs. The first, for the culture and creative sectors and industries, will launching a call for proposals already in late autumn 2021. So the KIC will be set up, designated in 2020-22. And the second EIT KIC will be on water, marine, and maritime sectors coming later on as well. I will run through each of the 3 priority areas now and their current opportunities in more details in a nutshell. So I've mentioned first is a priority. We need to strengthen the EIT Regional Innovation Scheme. So back in 2014, we launched the EIT RIS scheme to help and overcome Europe's regional innovation gaps. That time it was a voluntary outreach scheme, basically. The EIT RIS focuses on supporting the countries and regions considered modest or moderate innovators by the European Innovation Scoreboard. I'm sure you're familiar with this. This has actually demonstrated its value over the years, so we plan to invest more in for 2021-2027. And now moving from this voluntary outreach scheme, now it will be a key part of the KIC's activities and aim to link up with European structural and investment funds as well as smart specialization strategies. According to the new strategy, at least 10% of the EIT's budget will go to EIT RIS activities. And we hope that, and our aim is for 15% of the EIT's core activities to take place in these countries and regions when it comes to delivering on our key performance indicators. We are also setting up an information coordination service that we are now piloting in 7 EU member states, which will help us to collect information about the community's activities, local level, and share that information with others, with our stakeholders in these countries. Speaking about the second priority I've mentioned under the agenda, we are launching a new initiative for higher education. So while education has been an orchestral part of EIT activities over the past years, this new initiative will particularly strengthen the higher education institutions' innovation capacities. These play a critical role in the innovation process, but they sometimes face challenges in becoming more innovative and entrepreneurial. So we are launching this initiative to build the innovation capacity of these institutions in Europe. Our aim is to integrate a wider number of higher education institutions into innovation communities and coordinate new, inclusive, cross-sectoral activities related to education. We are also going to extend the EIT label, which is given to the best educational master and PhD programs, to those higher education institutions involved in the initiative. Currently, under the EIT label, we have around 80 programs, master and PhD programs, and more than 100 universities from Europe participate already. We recently announced a pilot call for proposal for the new initiative, and we invite higher education institutions to submit proposals for projects that will improve their innovation capacities. In the first round, this call will fund 23 pilot projects for 21-23, and the deadline for the submissions is actually late May, 25th of May, and you can find, of course, more information on our website on this as well. So when it comes to the third strategic objective, to increase our impact, of course, we'll do this by building on the best practices we've picked up over the past decade, particularly regarding priorities like education and the regional development that I've just mentioned earlier. We'll also work on strengthening the financial sustainability of EIT KICs, which will be a major priority. And the KICs have followed financial sustainability principles already since 2015. We're now adopting new principles to further strengthen the commitment to sustainability as well. We're working on new key performance indicators, KPIs, that will be in place this year to inform the EIT's decisions about future funding and also to better measure the EIT's community's impact. An impact framework and pathway developed alongside with the KIC will underpin our future work. This is perfectly aligned with the impact pathway Marek has actually presented for entire Horizon Europe, but with customization and more details for the EIT community. We're also committed to increasing our openness and transparency. We'll adopt new principles for good governance for our KICs, open our activities to a wider range of partners, and share more information with our stakeholders. Also, we'll use the Commission platforms for that. Let me note here that as of this year, we'll also have a network of EIT national contact points, NCPs, across Europe. This is novel. the first time for the EIT and our NCPs, will be able to provide information about the community's opportunities and guide potential partners, applicants also at the local level. When it comes to the growth of the EIT community, in first round, we are, as mentioned before, launching a new kick for culture in creative sectors and industries, which are incredibly important for Europe. They're also key drivers of economic growth and job creation. They promote diversity, catalyze creativity across the entire economies, but they've been very hardly hit also by the COVID-19 crisis. So we are preparing to launch this new kick already in 2022, after the calls for proposals will be published in autumn 2021 already. The EIT culture and creativity will connect the innovation value chains, break down the barriers, and empower the culture creative innovators across the sectors. We expect consortia of business, research, and education welcome to submit their proposals for building this new kick from the ground up. You can find more information on the timeline and call details also on the EIT website. Marek has mentioned the EIC, a new tool under Horizon Europe, but in the same pillar 3, where EIT is set. We are reinforcing cooperation with the EIC that basically we share the same mission to foster innovation in Europe, but we have complementary profiles. This is why we have joined forces building synergies with EIC that will increase our impact and support our cooperation for years to come. In early 2020, we set up a joint task force of the EIT governing board and the EIC advisory board to chart this path forward. We've discussed, giving the EIT kick supported startup access to the EIC's accelerator and business acceleration services, and giving EIC supported startups access to EIT advisory services and networks as well. This will be possible through pilot actions which are being prepared now. Last September, 3 EIT kicks signed a letter of intent with the EIC outlining their shared commitment to close cooperation. And this year, at the beginning of the year, we started with an EIT-EIC Memorandum of Understanding, which we signed on 8th of January, to seal our cooperation for the future. We have agreed to harmonize or support for ventures, ensure mutual access to each other's network, and share information on projects and impact assessment, just to name a few. We're currently working closely with the European Commission and the EIT kicks, of course, now to translate this MOU into concrete actions and for the benefit of Europe's innovators. So, with this, finally, I'd like to highlight that we have an event coming up on the 14th of June to launch our new strategic innovation agenda, SIA, for 2021-2027. At the event, which will be co-organized with the Portuguese Council presidency, you will be able to learn more about our strategic priorities, ask about our plans for the coming years, and share your views as well. So you're most welcome to join there. So thanks a lot for your attention, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Many thanks to you, Martin. First of all, I want to explain that here we are representing the European Cluster Alliance. For your information, the European Cluster Alliance joins near 800 clusters across Europe. Okay, I want to officially offer you full collaboration from our Federation of Clusters. Okay, Pan-European Federation of Clusters, and now it's time to open the floor for the rest of the attendants. But first of all, I would like to invite Lucia Sil to speak. And I need to say thank you also to Lucia, because in fact, she was the one that facilitated the organization of this very interesting webinar. So thank you, Lucia, and I will be glad to hear your opinions and your views on this future collaboration.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Thank you very much, Martin, as well, for your availability to speak to the community of the European Clusters Alliance. And as a matter of fact, it's important to start this dialogue at an early stage, because as we can see also from the chat, clusters are already involved in the EIT's activities in different EIT KICs. And the question is how we can draw more synergies between the activities of the EIT KICs and the clusters activities. I have attended as well with a presentation of the cluster possibilities of the EIT manufacturing CLC East. And there as well, there were clusters as RIS hubs present, and I think we can, it's not something that we can, decide right now, but it's good to start this dialogue to inform each other about the activities that are undertaken in both areas and see where collaboration is possible, particularly, let's say, involvement in the project. For example, the HEI initiative that you have undertaken can also lead as well to cluster involvement to support more the bringing to the market and the innovation capacity of the education institute. So I think it's a starting point. It's an extremely important presentation and opening of the dialogue, and I hope it will be continued. And just one comment, a very personal one. I'm very happy to see the development of the setup of the KIC for culture and creativity since the European industry or the industrial, let's say, community made a lot of efforts early in 2012 with the European Creative Industries Alliance, where there was as well very much the focus on how to bring the creativity into the industrial and societal sector. So I think it's a, let's say, a fulfillment of a dream for many actors, both in the culture and the industrial worlds. Thank you very much. And I think there are some questions, then maybe.
Okay, thank you, Lucia. Okay, the floor is open for comments or questions. Who wants to participate? Who is the first?
Yes, Anton, I can make a question to Martin, if it's possible, a very, very quick question on one aspect. But from your experience in the knowledge innovation communities, and you have already 8 KICs, what's excellent, in fact, how do you see the cooperation between the multinationals, the big companies, and the SMEs in trying to share experience and to contribute to the excellence of the knowledge community, from the experience that you have in the energy, in the food and the manufacturing and things like that? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. Very good one. So basically, all of the EIT KICs have somewhat different structure when it comes to the size of the partnerships, customized on the actual specific sector. So, I've mentioned the key actors of what we call the knowledge triangle, but we also often have other kind of actors involved, local authorities and so on, depending on the sector. Now, particularly for the big multinationals and the SMEs, actually, I'm happy to say that in the EIT partnerships, the SMEs play a bigger role than in Horizon 2020. So looking back, actually, almost half of the business partners were SMEs. So when it comes to the entire KIC model, this is what we also saw. I mean, just to repeat, it's really not about research with the EIT. This is about getting innovation out from the laboratory and getting to market as soon as possible. So for every single project we finance, we insist that this approach is maintained, that all parts of the knowledge triangle are involved. So this the same stands for education activities, which is co-design with industry, research, and so on. We also see that very often the startups, which are early stage startups, which are supported, have potential routes towards the multinational companies you've mentioned. But again, it's very sector specific as well. I mean, EIT Digital operates in an entirely different setting as, for example, EIT Raw Materials. The raw materials sector is, probably way more capex intensive when it comes to deploying innovation projects. Obviously, there are probably bigger players involved on the one hand in the community. On the other hand, the opportunity there is through the integration of the entire value chain. So keeping the example of EIT Raw Materials, this is currently the biggest network of that kind in the world, in the raw materials sector, which is from exploration till recycling to product design, actually brings together all kind of actors, and this very often creates a really fertile relationship between these partners. Also, I mean, speaking about the role of the ecosystem, and again the nexus between these kind of players, we very often see that it's not the core funding which is missing at first stage, but the first client, for example, the first test bed, the first commercialization potential of a startup or a smaller company, an SME has, and then bringing together these actors, very often then this synergy is found then within the KICs. I hope this answers your question.
I would say, Martin, that clusters can contribute to that need, okay, to that gap. What is your experience with clusters in the EIT? What is do you have references?
Yeah, I mean, here what I can mention is also, I mean, you have to look at the model. So when it comes to local innovation hotspots, clusters, right? This is probably the way the local CLCs, the local innovation hubs of the EIT can play a role, because the EIT model is also about connecting through countries, through regions, through sectors as well. So of course the local clusters often have direct operational connection and cooperation possibility with the regional offices, with the co-location centers, with the hubs. Again, how this happens, it very often depends again on the nature of the KICs. Sometimes it's more a geographical spread through these offices, but sometimes it's also specialization depending on the sector specific aspect. So again, staying with EIT Raw Materials, one CLC is more about recycling, another one is more about exploration and novel mining technologies, which is natural in the sense that each area has different clusters as well and different innovation potential, but also simply geographical conditions which determine this.
Okay, it's good that we open a dialogue, okay, because we are working also in transnational network of clusters. In fact, it's one of the realities that has arisen strongly during the last years. Okay, we are organizing ourselves in those kind of networks, both horizontal and vertical, and in fact, we are the culminant of that pyramid, okay? But Marek could speak about the Euro cluster initiatives, that they will launch from DigiGrow just soon, I hope, and we are creating those kind of pan-European networks. Anyway, there is a very good question from Pierre. Pierre, would you comment? Will you share with us? Sorry, Pierre, very strange noise. There is a sound effect in the sound that is not good at all. We cannot understand you. Anyway, I can read it. In what way can cluster or groups of clusters become involved in the EAC and in the EAT? are clusters part of the target audience, or are they eligible for funding as direct beneficiaries of those programs? Do we have examples in this group?
I can speak probably for EIT. Of course, the eligibility criteria is set. So as long as a cluster organization fulfills the application criteria which are set out for the Horizon program, relating to partners in the evaluation criteria usually, may participate as they are also, a legal entity fulfilling these financial and other conditions. We time to time have reviews, evaluations. I must admit this was not a particular topic which was looked at in details. I don't know if the Commission intends to cover this with the ex post assessment for Horizon 2020 program. But again, when it comes to the participation and eligibility, there is no negative discrimination for the cluster organizations as long as they fulfill the same legal and financial criteria set out for any participating partner. But maybe Marek can nuance this for entire Horizon Europe.
Hi, Marek. Will you comment on that?
Yes, I think cluster organizations are, such a variety of calls which is coming, there will be cluster organizations as well eligible for that. It depends very much on the call and eligibility and how it's defined. I think in all this, particularly Pillar 2, clusters by default will be available as business organization, as other business organizations or cluster organizations will be there for sure. My only point is that, as you know, and I expressed this content, that we are not going to continue with InnoSup 1 as such in Horizon Europe, meaning that this gives us even more potential to tap on any other calls where actually everywhere clusters or members of clusters should be part of. So the fact that we don't have one continuity which was dedicated purely for clusters, it doesn't mean that the clusters cannot be beneficiaries of the whole set of different calls. As said, it will start to be published in massive probably since May once the work program is adopted. For EIT, I think it's specific. It is actually a question about eligibility criteria so in case, as you are saying, it is possible for clusters, as far as I understand, to be fully involved. I don't see there's indeed any negative discrimination for clusters. And but if you allow me, I would like to refer to this regional part of what the EIT is doing, because it must be linked with the smart specialization strategy at regional level. And here clusters can be integrated actually of all this work with the strategies of regional authorities, with what EIT is doing on the ground, and clusters are natural partner on the local level to integrate the actions between KICs and collocation centers, and I see the role for clusters in this way of integrating these activities. And then there's new element, something that we will discuss as well, probably in capacity building seminar we will have with CCP on the stakeholder involvement, role of clusters in building the capacity so involving of collaboration between clusters and universities. When EIT has this touch of bringing universities into business and making this closer to market, I think when we involve as well clusters in this collaboration, then it will be even easier for having the universities to have more pro-commercial approach to the their work, to the development skills agenda, and to integrate the work of researchers as well in these universities to what is the economic tissue of the regional economy. So from this point of view, clusters for me are the ones who really can integrate this all communities in a practical manner. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. We have only 1 minute left, so Adrian is just, I think, the next has the next comment in the chat. Will you have a quick intervention?
Oh, well, I can, thank you, Antonio. I can keep it very short. I was just confirming to Marek's initial statement, so that all this budget, they should not be spent, but that investments, that they should be considered as investments. And so, and that is also that there is a desired return on investment. And I just think this is a very good approach. And I just perceive that clusters are here in a very good position, because some of these fundings, they are just going to maybe a few companies, a few international partners, but with clusters, just like you mentioned, Antonio, there could be sometimes hundreds of members. So there could be very good approaches to get feedback from many actors. And therefore, it is possible also to get, in the end, to the European Commission and European Union back the information, how actually this capital has been used and implemented into projects. So this was just a comment. So thank you very much for this great session today.
You are very welcome. And I see that Jan Martin also make a last comment in the chat. Jan Martin, you are the last one.
Thanks. I think Lucia wanted to have a quick one. Mine is not quick. It's actually only a question about whether the new innovation system, including the KICs, is sufficient to protect against industrial leakage. I think the whole cluster world is very much aware of that. But I think it will be very good to think that. But I think it's a question too long. Perhaps we can discuss it in another session. And that's super interesting.
I see that we need more sessions on this. Okay,
I think so. Yeah. Perhaps Lucia has a practical suggestion. Yeah.
Mine was just a suggestion. Hearing that the regional innovation scheme hubs are about to grow, it would be good when there is an open. I don't know how the process is behind in identifying these risks, but when there is an open call for identifying them, that would be good to inform the cluster community, so that also the clusters can apply or get more involved as well into the EIT's activities. That was.
Maybe I can respond to this immediately. That as I've mentioned, currently we are not part of the Commission's systems for the funding, and we are doing this transition right now. But as from 2022, all the opportunities, kick calls, and so on will be integrated to the portal. But if you go onto the EIT website, we always collect under opportunities every ongoing open call for every single kick as well. So all these calls, which are open calls, are open for the participation. So for the EIT RIS hubs in particular, as I mentioned, these regional hubs are set up in those countries which are eligible for the EIT RIS, being modest or moderate innovators. Otherwise, when it comes to the dedication of the offices of the co-location centers of the hubs, of the KICs, this happens through the setup of the KIC. So in the proposal phase, one of the elements is to propose the structure, why those geographies and so on. And usually this is kept relatively limited, again, 5 to 8 such hubs per KIC. But of course, we have more regional hubs. These are smaller ones, smaller contact points for involvement in activities. Again, these are selected by the KICs in open competition.
It is difficult to close with so many questions in the chat. There is one from Adrien: where can we find the map of the moderate innovator regions? I don't know. We will try to send you the information at the end. Okay. Thank you, Martin, again. it's clear that we need to speak more, and we will promote the info day on the 14th of June for sure, and we will promote also the knowledge of your approaching activities and in the other way. You are very welcome to contact us with any interesting opportunity that you could think about. Okay, thank you, and we continue speaking.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Antonio. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you, Marek. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.